All right, all right. Welcome to Fight Court. Fight Court. New face, but not really. Was a fan of the show. Now he is the show. King Mo Lawal, my new co-host, one of my best friends. What's going on, man?
What is going on, man? Hey, I know Dean's gone, but I'm the replacement. I'm hoping I can be just as good as Dean.
You are. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great conversation. This is why I was happy it was you because, I know we're going to have fun with everything. Like we could talk combat sports, shit, whatever. We'll get into that. But before we get going, I want to give it this time to have a shout out to a special friend of the show, a special friend of Mo's and mine. Orlando VC was at one of my fights, bunch of Mo's fights. He's a rapper. He's got great support for Fight Court. Shout out to you, Orlando. Good to hear from you, man.
All right, Pale Skin Wonder.
Hey. We're starting early. Anyway, all right. So, yeah, there was some stuff going on in combat sports this week. What's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Okay, well, actually, let's talk about the most recent thing, which is the UFC. Let's touch base on that. Let's go in reverse.
Okay.
So I didn't get a chance to watch the UFC, to be honest with you, but I know you did.
Yeah.
I seen that Gilbert Burns retired. And, I remember meeting him before he started fighting. Jeff Mayweather held mitts for him and Vitor Belfort at the Ryu gym.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
In Vegas. And Jeff Mayweather said, Mo, this guy has some power. And I'll never forget watching him hit those passes because he had some crazy power 15 years ago.
Real quick, Jeff Mayweather story. Actually, I just told the story on Friday. Jeff worked with Mo a lot. I worked with Jeff a little bit, and he lived with us for a while. Mo and I used to live together. For those you don't know, so I was out in Vegas for the Ultimate Fighter trials the same week that Mayweather was going to fight Manny Pacquiao, and I was with Jeff, and so we're at it was like it was some kind of event. It was like everyone was there, and it wasn't a press conference. It was just like in the ring, and Floyd was talking, and then I'm next to Jeff, and then we were gonna go to this like after party. It wasn't really a party. It was just like a meet, and I was all pumped. I'm gonna meet Floyd. And I'm with Jeff, and then the thing ends, and I'm texting on my phone, and I didn't realize Jeff walked in. As soon as he walked in, security was. And I walk up, I'm like, no, I'm with Jeff. They're like, yeah, okay. And then I'm like, Jeff, and so anyway, I went back and I stood outside his car for 2 hours like this. And then Jeff comes walking, and then he's just walking all slow. He sees me like, bro, you left me. And he goes, well, I knew you knew where my car was, so I wasn't worried.
No, Jeff's good people, man.
Jeff's the best. We got to have him on here sometime.
Yeah.
But okay, talking about Gilbert. So, it's funny. You talk about Gilbert's power, and I feel like he's one of the grapplers that really figured it out. Like, really figured out how to strike for MMA to implement his grappling. And he really has fought everybody. I always really liked Gilbert. Obviously he was with the other guys, but I didn't like I always respected him, and I always thought he was great. Every mutual friend we have says he's a great person too. But he really figured it out with, I'm never going to be a boxer. I'm never going to be a kickboxer. How do I work my striking for mixed martial arts, work my striking to work my wrestling? And I feel like he learned how to use his power when he got people to really focus in on his grappling game, and then he would sneak in that overhand right more. Last night, I didn't see a lot of that, and I know obviously he's, it's towards the end of his career, but it didn't look like it did in the past. Like, Mike Malott has a very bright future. I really like how he was setting traps with that lead uppercut. But where Gilbert would usually move his head with punches or try to shoot underneath activity coming his way, he was circling out. He really didn't want anything with the fray. And I was like, wow. And he wasn't really moving his head. That was one thing I always really liked, that he would always move his head really well on the way in, to move his head with his punches and create angles off his head move. He didn't do any of that last night. Whether it was in the back of his head, it had him put his feet on the brakes, I don't know. But yeah, like you said, great career. I'm happy for him hanging it up. Whatever he's going to add to the sport as a coach, like you are right now. So yeah, that's what I got to say about it. Mike Malott or Malott, it's Malott. Yeah, like I said, he looked really good with his strike, but overall, I didn't really feel he gave like a dominant future of the division performance. I felt that he didn't fight the Gilbert, even the Gilbert that beat George. It didn't even look like he beat that Gilbert. I feel like that Malott looked a little stiff. He relied on his range a lot, and I feel like somebody that could really move in and close the distance on the telephone booth efficiently is going to give him issues. But the dude is definitely. I mean, I think he's got like his finish rate's crazy high. I don't know if it's 100%, but it's really high. But overall, I think that he still has another fight to really prove himself.
So what you're saying is someone with more fluidity and more wrinkles to give him issues.
Yes, I think so. Now that being said, towards the third round when the knockout happened, he did figure out some stuff along the way, which I'm always big on as watching a fighter. If you can make those adjustments to be more efficient and more devastating with your strikes, that says a lot. That shows a lot of fighting maturity, not even fight IQ, fighting maturity. And he did do that towards the end. I just felt he could have done it a little quicker. Maybe it was the main event too. Who knows? But
it's my bad to catch up. What about the rest of the card? How would you?
It was okay. There was really nothing crazy. I know Jai Herbert, I think his name. He had a pretty good fight. He had a pretty big comeback when he was getting rocked against a guy who made his UFC debut at 36 years old.
Huh? Rat garbage.
Yes, yeah.
Shout out to Rat Garbage. I love watching him fight. I missed his fight, but he's entertaining. He has some great boxing, and he got into the UFC kind of late, but man, like he deserves to be there.
He does.
His first fight. Go ahead, tell me what the fight. Go ahead.
So he was winning that fight, and he was tagging Jaya up. He like dropped him twice, and on top of that, like he showed really good composure, and he was throwing these extensive front kicks with power. Like it was pretty impressive watching what he was doing, and just so fluid with it. And it was like Jai had nowhere to go. He couldn't circle out because the kicks were cutting. He couldn't come forward because counter strikes were coming. He really looked good until he got hit. I don't want to say it didn't really look like he had a glass jaw. I don't want to say that. Jai's experienced veteran. He moved his head with a right hand to moved his head to a short right hand, connected on the dot, and then Rat Garbage had a hard time recovering. So I still think that it's not going to be a one and done for him. I think he's got some fights to win the UFC as well. Other than that, the fight card really wasn't all that great.
So let's get off the topic a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I had a chance to watch PFL.
Okay.
AJ Wilson, a guy I worked with, was in the main event and won by KO the first round, the first 30 seconds. I also had the privilege to go corner Natalia Kuznatina in Japan.
Oh yeah, let's talk about
the Rizin show. And that Rizin, in my opinion, is the best show you can watch if you're an MMA fan. So I'm gonna say this, right? Like I love the UFC, but one thing that's hurting me and that's bugging me is the lack of diversity we see within the MMA space. In boxing, you see diversity. You see Zuffa, you see Matchroom, you see Queensberry, you see PBC, you see Golden Boy, Top Rank, you see different promotions. But within MMA in America, you don't see that. And that's kind of painful because I remember about 10 to 12 years ago, there were a plethora of shows all through North America. Now we're seeing less, and I feel like the product has become watered down. I'm not sure, and I've lost a little bit of interest. Thanks to you like being on FightCourt, it's kind of bringing it back. The burns coming back, but I just kind of got lost the love for it a little bit because there's no diversity.
So, Dean and I used to talk about this a lot. And actually, because of that, we've really invested time into learning like who excited us on the preliminary cards and who's on the way up and stuff like that because of what you said. And I think there's a lot that has to do with what you just said. First off, 10, 12 years ago, let's say 10 years ago even, 2016. Okay, let's say 8 years ago. The UFC had Fight Pass, and then they started getting all the regional shows on Fight Pass, and basically everything was a feeder system to the UFC. So even though it wasn't diverse, it wasn't unified, and it was bottlenecking the competition, and I think that had a lot to do with it. Bellator was still there. Bellator was on the up. Bellator was stable. What else was going on? I mean, ONE FC was coming up. PFL.
Rizin,
Rizin 2016 Rizin. But then when PFL and Bellator merged, so that took out one thing of the competition. Rizin wasn't having as many shows. They're starting to grow on now. But overall, because they're so like, do you remember when we first got into fighting? There was one show a month, and it was
Yeah.
like it was great. Like it was now granted the fighters I think today are better than the fighters of 20 years ago or whatever, but that's just because of evolution. That's not because of anything else. But because of that, because the UFC has all these cards and they just had to gobble up the competition, now all these preliminary cards are basically like the mid card of what would be on those regional shows.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, it's just way oversaturated. Now, there's a flip side to the argument that I just gave. Back then, the UFC, well, there's the WEC, UFC, but the UFC only had really like 155, 170, 185 lightweight. So they only had 5 weight classes. Now they got bantamweight, flyweight, and featherweight, and then they have the women's division. So like really, they got to figure some shit out there. I think whether it's more weight classes or something. I think that it has been watered down, especially because PFL seems to have stabilized, so to speak. I know they really draw. I feel like they stabilized. That John Martin, that new CEO. What do you think about him?
Well, as much as I hate Mike Hogan, because in my eyes he's a bitch, I think that he made the right move. Him and Mr. Martin made the right move on getting rid of the tournament and having more of a it's an individual fight format.
Mm-hmm.
From there, they can figure out who the top contenders are, because in that way it makes things more interesting. Before, the tournament was cool, but you see people drop out the tournament because they didn't have enough points and this and that. But now it's easier to follow with the streamlined events where the guys are just matched up with certain opponents, and these guys can train for one opponent for a duration of time.
Yep.
Before, they're trained for maybe 3 different opponents, and it just wasn't practical.
Yeah, I don't blame them for doing that though. They needed to be different. They needed something different. I don't blame them for taking that route. Like it was cool, but yeah, like you said, it needed to change back.
Well, see, so think about this is a correction, because at one point everyone was like, MMA is a sport, it's a sport.
Yeah.
Sport. And then so they're like, you know what? It is a sport. Let's run it like a real sport. And that made sense. But now we're in a time where it's like, yeah, it's entertainment. You have to be an entertaining fighter. You have to entertain. You can win, but if you're not entertaining when you win, then screw you. So now it's like, okay, you know what? In a tournament, it's just you gotta win. You can't be entertaining and win. You have to win. Now, with the one individual matchups per fight show, now you can be entertaining while you're trying to craft like some type of game plan
you're more focused.
Yeah, you're more focused on just fighting and entertaining instead of just like, okay, you know what? I gotta get these points. Once I get these points, next round I might have this guy. Well, that's no longer there anymore. So PFL's made the right move, and they have some good matchups. They have some great fighters.
They do.
And they have some really good fighters, and you're gonna start seeing more fighters pop up that people aren't familiar with.
Who's on your mind? Tell us who's on your mind that's going to come up in PFL. Let's focus on them.
Well, like for one, JJ Wilson, Thad Jeans, one,
that is good.
Jason Jackson's gone, but there are a few other fighters like Paul Hughes will get more shine. I think Usman will get more shine now in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm thinking that maybe with them doing this, they have a chance to sign guys like Bilal Hassan, who's one of the best up and coming fighters that I've seen. I don't know if you heard of him, Bilal Hassan. Look him up. Bro, CFFC champion. He's legit. Or Fumi. Fumi, he's from South Africa, but he's undefeated. He's the A1 champion. He was the CFFC champion at one point. Both guys are legit, but for some reason they haven't been picked up yet. I'm not sure if the UFC is too full, but maybe with PFL getting rid of the tournament format, they might be able to free up some more money or free up some more spots to sign some of these top fighters that haven't been signed just yet.
Yeah, because maybe there is more money there because the winning the tournament bonus is no more. So that's automatically millions of dollars. And then fighters don't have to be as active. I know that's something that fans wish there was more, but if fighters don't have to be as active, then you could spread the wealth. So yeah, I'm down with that. Just I like what they're doing. I noticed that they've stabilized. It's doing well. Rizin's having more shows. I'm happy for Danny. Danny's doing well over there. Now Natalia, I mean, I know she works so hard. I remember she was working, trying to get fights in so many, anywhere and anybody. And I'm happy that she's there now. Are they going to keep her busy, you think?
Yeah. So the champion, Seika Izukawa, she's pregnant, so she had to give up the belt. And I believe they gave the belt to Reina. So Scrappy, Natalia Kuzutina, will be fighting July 17th.
All right.
So she beats this girl, which I know she will. She'll have a chance to fight Reina for the belt. And, you know, I'm pretty optimistic this year on how MMA will grow. I like the PFL made that move. I like what Rizin's doing. I love what KSW's doing. I love what Octagon's doing. Now, I just have one wish thing on my wish list. I wish that these promotions could find a way to provide competition to the UFC. Yeah. Kind of like where they have territories where like someone like Johnny Eblen or Van Steenis could win the PFL title, then go fight for the KSW belt, win that belt. Go to Rizin, fight for the Rizin belt, win that belt. Go to Octagon, win the Octagon title, and then be unified MMA champions. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like boxing in a sense, where they have territories, and they could. If you're a champion in one territory, you can go and try to belt collect from the rest of the territories.
You said territory, and you already know what you triggered in my head.
Yep.
So maybe we could do our own little research project, and we could research what the NWA did to compete with WWF. But we can make sure we figure out what didn't work, and then we can make sure these other promotions don't make the same mistakes, because obviously that was big. I have a book on the territories. It's like one of the best books I ever read. It was so good, and how they hated Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
it was crazy. My favorite part is, Vince McMahon, all his faults. The guy had a lot of balls doing what he did. There was a meeting with all the head promoters in New York of the NWA, and when it was WWF, Vince McMahon took over for the old man, and he basically said, he goes, "Hey guys, I'm just telling you now, I respect all of you. I've known you all my whole life. I'm expanding." And then what he did do, I mean, obviously this is something that probably wouldn't work in MMA, but it wouldn't work in MMA. But he had his New York territory. The first territory he bought was not like Pennsylvania, or it wasn't like Western New York. First territory he bought was in California, and then so he could squeeze in the competition.
Yeah,
it's actually a really smart move.
Scott Coker tried to do it. Scott Coker actually co-promoted Strikeforce, and I think with Bellator with the Japanese organization. So that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would love that, because let's face it, we love those champion versus champion things. It's like even the Bellator versus PFL 1 or 2 they had, they were great. So I would totally be down with that. There's something they could do for that. I'm optimistic with what's going on in MMA. It's going to force the UFC to get better. It's going to force them to change things up. But anything more on that before we go on to the next thing?
Nah, because the other sports is bare knuckle and boxing.
Well, there's one more that I really like. Actually, I wonder what your opinion is on this, because I wasn't sure. What do you think of RF?
You know what? I like what they're doing. Mm-hmm. You know what? Now my only argument with RAF is I wish they had 3 divisions: a women's division, an MMA division for male and female, and then a division for the guys that are really trying to win the Olympics, win worlds.
Yeah, but isn't part of the I feel part of the theme is that the crossover with the UFC or the MMA people wrestling the wrestlers and stuff. I mean, it's not all of it.
Because think about this: the moment an MMA fighter gets taken down, they're gonna get gut wrist.
They're gonna get attacked in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's true. Do you think you would ever do an RAF match?
Bodies to beat up.
All right.
He's like 60 or 70 and one-legged.
We can find him.
Find somebody, pull him out the grave. Yeah. Dig him up.
But no, I like what they're doing. I like what RF is doing. Did you see the highlight last night?
Yeah.
Does Arman still train there at ATT? He does. Okay.
He's pretty intense, man. Like
I can see
that. In my opinion, he's a good kid. But I think that what he did with the Rai was a little too much. Have respect for your fighters. Have respect for the legends.
Yeah.
Uriah's a fellow wrestler at one point. I remember him at Cal State Fullerton, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He was at was it Baker's? Not Cal State.
I think it was Bakersfield.
No,
it was Fullerton. Here, let's
yeah, Fullerton. And he was tough. He gave people hell. 133 pounder. He was tough as nails. Hard to score on. Could scramble. He went to MMA. Did his thing in MMA. Was a world champion. Great, entertaining fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. And never in a boring fight. And I feel like Arman should have showed him some more respect and not try to drive him off the platform like that.
We know a lot of people who don't need to be named that are similar to that. They're good people, but they just can't turn it off. You just can't turn it off. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know about you, I've been in situations where I didn't turn it off, where I had a choice to turn it off or not. I was just like, it was just a bad day or whatever. But it seems like maybe he's young. Maybe when he gets older, he'll chill out. But it seems like he just can't turn it off when it comes to things like that. He just really gets like caught up in the moment.
Yeah, too much a strong competitor. Yeah. Yes, but see, it's called sportsmanship.
Yeah.
I know he has it because after he wins, he turns it off. Then
True.
Sometimes.
Well, he had a little beef with this. I forget his name, the Instagram guy with the takedowns, and then after he won, like the guy gave him the $1,000, and immediately Arman put it toward a charity. Like it didn't even leave his hand. He put it toward a charity. So, like he's a good dude. It's just he just needs to learn a little sportsmanship. Yep. Oh, I forgot to ask you. Have you seen Super Mario Brothers yet? The sequel?
Yeah.
You did? Is it good?
Not as good as the first one.
I'm gonna take my
son. It was good, but the first one was way better.
Yeah, it was so good.
Much better.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good shit coming out. You see the thing I sent you on Instagram with it ended up being AI. I thought it was legit. It said it was the opening scene of Doomsday, and it was Dr. Doom going into a meeting of the Kanes, Kane the Conqueror.
Yeah.
And then he eviscerated. Oh, it was fucking good. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of good shit coming out there. So what's going on in boxing? What'd you say?
Council of Canes.
Council of Canes, yeah. Council of Canes.
Yeah.
Damn good. What else is going on in boxing? And I'm going to start, now that I'm with you now, I got to start watching more bare. I've been meaning to, but I haven't. Watching more boxing and bare knuckle.
Well, so in bare knuckle BKB, I think they crowned a new champion, John Bernard. Mm-hmm. He's from Hawaii, tough guy. He'll be facing Alberto Blas for the 135 belt later on this year. And when you look at the bare knuckle organizations, BKFC is geared more towards MMA fighters. So there's more MMA fighters in BKFC. BKB is geared more towards the boxers. They signed Lee Selby, they signed Gamboa, they signed Yuneski Gonzalez, they signed Paulie Malignaggi. They also have Victor Ortiz, who fought Mayweather, and they have Carlos Molina. So they're signing good name boxers. Lee Selby himself is a former world champion. So, and they signed the Fernando Vargas sons, the two brothers, which are big signings. So those guys can fight. So you can see they're trying to bring the boxing world into the bare knuckle side. Now BKFC, Chris Camozzi just lost to I forgot the guy's name. That guy came with a crazy ass pace and took him out of there. I forgot the guy's name. I think he's a tall Hawaiian looking guy, but he could fight his ass off. And he went out there and just put a pace on Camozzi and damaged him up. But BKFC's geared more towards ex-MMA fighters.
Yeah.
So you can see the champ after you can tell off the champions.
I'm happy that bare knuckle boxing is sticking around. I remember people thought it was going to be a flash in the pan, and like we talked about, people thought MMA was going to be a flash in the pan 25 years ago or 30 years ago. And I'm happy. Well, I am happy that ex-MMA fighters have somewhere to go and make some money. But it's a good sport. It's not like, I know it's violent and stuff, but ultimately people can't swat as hard because they don't have anything to protect their hands. And it's boxing. It forces you, actually, it might even force you to be more technical with your boxing than actual boxing, because you can't start swinging for the fences. That's something that people need to stick around
You
for.
have to think defense. You have to be cognizant because now the gloves you can block like this.
Yeah.
Right here, the fist will go through and around under.
Mm-hmm.
The knuckles can cut you. So you have to be a little cleaner because there's less room for error with the bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why it's so exciting because you see blood so quick.
Yeah.
After the first minute and a half, you see blood. You know,
so crazy. I remember I saw Pitbull like the first time I saw him was a couple years ago. I'm like, oh, your face looks all right, actually. You know, like he had a few matches. Like, sheesh. Do you think that because of that, it encourages more head movement or more parrying?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Okay.
And the thing is, you have to be smarter with what you do as far as energy conservation is concerned, because if you move your head too much, the body don't move, so you can get crushed to the body.
Right.
You know, then you move your legs, well, then you get tired and they clench you up. So it's like a lot of things in the bare knuckle boxing space that are working against you when you're in that square, in the triangle, the trigon, or in that circle.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, it's definitely good stuff. Oh, I meant to ask you just before we went live, but CCW has some house events coming up. The wrestling, we got to go check that out.
Definitely.
Dude, they got some good, I call them names. They're not names, but they're the kind of heels that we like. They're just goofy.
All right, cool. Let's check it out.
Yeah, it's a good Friday night. But what else is going on? Who are you cornering? Anyone coming up? You got fights?
Nothing yet. But let me ask you this before we go. Actually, let me touch base. Boxing. Alicia Baumgartner beat Bomi Ray Shin, which is a great fight. Ben Whitaker won his fight. Molly McCann had probably one of the best fights of the year so far. Them two girls were brawling. Lanny Daniels just upset Shadeja Green, and Shadeja Green was supposed to fight the champ, the GOAT, Clarissa Shields, but that's scrapped. But that's when to run through that real quick. But I already got that out the way. Just quick rundown.
Cool.
So I know you heard the news. Hector Lombard is facing Romero.
Yeah,
at Game Bread. What do you think of that? Because to me, I'm like, damn, that's crazy because that's a fight. Because I'm like, either Hector gets him out of there early or Romero weathers a storm or drags the fight and gets him out there in the later rounds. But either way, man, that's a fight right there.
Dude.
In bare knuckle.
So I feel like the first, like the 7 to the 7.5 minute mark of that fight is going to decide the fight, if that makes sense. Like either Hector's going to finish him within there or it's going to roll into Romero's side, because I think that, obviously Hector just can crack, as we know, and he's like built for bare knuckle boxing. Like that's as far as striking is concerned, he's built for that.
This is MMA though.
Oh, dude, I thought it was boxing.
Oh, MMA. So here's the thing. Hector has great submissions. His leg lock game is crazy. People don't know that. Hector has some great submissions.
He does. Oh, he's got great leg locks. Yeah. I'll tell you all about it.
People don't know about that. But I mean, like, if Hector has your leg, it's gone.
Yeah. Yoel is just one of the freakiest athletes I've ever seen, though. As far as I could see if it goes to the ground, Yoel just jumping and getting out of the way. I'll never forget when I saw this. He was sparring with Glover, and Glover had a single leg, and Yoel backflipped out of it and landed on his feet, and then landed a 1-2. He does crazy shit like that, and I really feel that if Hector drops to an ankle, he's gonna have to set it up. It's gonna have to be like a grappling setup. You can't just drop to an ankle and go for an ankle lock. But I think that if it goes there, I feel like those two are gonna stand and bang though. I feel like that they're gonna. I don't plan on seeing a lot of wrestling.
Well, here's the thing. You're talking about Romero, who's also damn near 50 now.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're talking about Romero sparring with Glover about 12 years ago.
Yeah, that was 2014. So it was 12 years ago.
Yeah, so
he's not doing any backflips
30s,
now.
You know what I'm saying? It's different now.
yeah, he's not doing any backflips now. So I don't know. Well, who do you think?
I like both fighters, and I honestly wish they both weren't fighting each other.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm with you on that.
Hector, at first, I'm not gonna lie, I used to think Hector was crazy, but now the new Hector is different. He's cool, laid back. He speaks his mind. even though he's kind of crazy at times, he speaks his mind, and I like hearing him talk because, like, he's just coming from the heart.
Yeah.
Romero was a good dude. Romero's been a good man ever since I first met him in 2005, 2006, and he's been consistently a good person. So I like both fighters. I hope that they fight, entertain the masses, and come out unscathed and unharmed.
To speak about how good a dude they both are. Actually, I'll tell the Romero story first because the Hector one's kind of funny. Actually, there's two Hector ones that are kind of funny. So it's International Fight Week 2015 or 13. It wasn't 14. It was before after. And Romero recently signed with the UFC, and there's a big buzz around him. He's being swamped. And I was out there with a sponsor working their vendor, and he sees me, and I wasn't even going to say hello because there's so many people around. And he sees me. We train together, and he grabs me, brings me, gives me the biggest hug, lifts me up. Bro, he was just happy to see me. It was just like such a good dude.
Yeah.
Now Hector, I remember Hector we were training. It was like in the middle of training. We sweat like crazy. And I just go to him. I go, "Hi, I like that shirt you got on." You like my shirt? He takes off his sweaty shirt and he gives it to me. And I was like, "But like, what do you do?" Like, I'm like, "Yo, I have to wash this and wear it by next week."
Which was the show? Was it the show with the shirt?
No, it was it was a Star Wars character. Was all jacked. I was just like, "Yeah, I like your shirt, man." But he was cool. Now, here's another really good Hector story. I remember it was early 2014, and I was not in shape, but I had to get in shape because I had a fight in like the next 2.5 months. So I wrestled hard, and I was really beat up. It was a hard wrestling day. We go wrestling Monday, sparring Tuesday, and this was when I was at 155 too. So I was not planning on having a crazy sparring day that Tuesday. And some other guy, we used to get some random people walking in there. This Midwestern middleweight guy, I could tell he was athletic. He came in, and I went with him. And I remember, I was like, I hope this guy's not going to go crazy. He went crazy, and I was like, I got to fight him because he's going to knock me out. And I see Hector circling around us, and I'm like, shit, now Hector's going to want to train with me. I can't do this. And then after the second round of it, Hector goes, "You come here," and he goes to that guy. And then within 30 seconds of the round, I rested. Within 30 seconds of the round, I see the kid. You don't come in here. You don't come in here. You do that to our boys. like an angel on my shoulder, man. He's crazy, but if you're with Hector, you're with Hector.
Yeah.
That's how it is. But no, that's good. Yeah, it's good we get to talk about those stories. But other than that, I don't even see what's going on next week. Is there any fights to look forward to this week? What do we got to watch in anything?
You know what? I have to look. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe.
Yeah, I gotta look. Usually we look. We put down a main event or something like that.
So let me be honest with you. I'm so hyped about the Invincible finale, and the boys have just been focused on that. I'm not gonna lie, I've been focused on that, man. Because
have you watched any of Daredevil Born Again?
You know what? I'm gonna try to start watching it this week coming up because they have 4 episodes out, 3, 4, 5. Okay,
yeah, it's very good, but they did drop the ball in one area that they're recovering with. I just don't think it works. I'll leave it at that. You'll probably pick up when you watch what I'm talking about. But yeah, you got to get caught up to speed with that because we're going to go down to SuperCon in July, and the whole cast is going to be there.
I bet. Okay.
I just want to meet Kingpin. I just want to meet Vincent D'Onofrio. I think that he's like the best actor of all time.
Is he going to be bald for that?
He better be. I'm going to put my phone in space, say something like Kingpin. They're going to kick me out. Yeah. But all right, man, that was a good first one. Guys, we got a lot of stuff going on. Comment below. Maybe we'll do a couple of these live so we get some questions coming in. We'll interact with the crowd and shit. Like Dean and I do that once in a while. But anything else you want to see? Anything else you want from us? We're going to do it. We're going to have a lot of fun here.
Yeah. Let's have fun. FightCourt.
Yep. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
Court is adjourned.
Yeah.